Hi there, and welcome to Reflections with Rhonda Jones with my co host, Monica. Hey, she's sporting a new do today, and I hope everyone love it. Look, it's awesome. She has the perfect hair for that do, and I really like it.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're sporting it. And of course, our regulars are. I'm gonna let you guys. I mean, y'all know y'all's names.
Kimberly. Ruthie.
Kimberly and Ruthie. Those are our two. Would you call them? I would say like Victorian damsels, like ladies that are prim and proper
Most of the time.
most of the time. Except remember, you have a mouth on you. We heard one time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody fessed up.
somebody
Blew
fessed
my
up.
secret.
Yeah, right.
My secret
Truth be
life.
told, I think all women can get that mouth going if they have to or they want to.
I think so. I think it's in our DNA that women can be. Let's use the word mouthy, but it seems like when a man says that, that just inflames me up to the.
That is so true because I was watching an episode of Chopped. I love the show Chopped. My husband and I and kids will watch it while we're eating dinner sometimes. And we were watching it, and this one woman, she was just talking and talking, and then the judges would say something like, well, this is too salty or not salty enough, or the consistency of it made it really hard to eat, or something like that. And she would kind of argue back, and it was just kind of like every time something was said, she would interrupt and have a comment. And I caught myself saying, she kind of mouthy. And then I thought, oh, that's bad, because I get upset if somebody else says that. So.
I know, I do too. But that brings me to a subject that we can start off with. It seems like whenever, a man says it, I get more incensed by it because it seems, we've talked about it before, that they deem us mouthy if we have an opinion. You can go too far with things, and sometimes if you just, that's different than mouthy. Mouthy, usually they'll say it whenever you are going to stand your ground and say something that you believe in. Then they call you mouthy. That's what gets me.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm just going to be going blah, 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 blah the whole time, I probably deserve to be called something, or maybe not. Be patient. But, so we get offended. We get offended easy. And Oprah, and we call her Okra around here sometime, and we're big fans of Oprah. And she is like on the Forbes list of celebrities, #1 as far as earnings. I think last year,
Wow.
ending June of 2013, she, I don't know if it was net or just produced $77 million worth of
Wow.
income,
Wow.
of money. Okay, so she doesn't need to borrow anything from anybody. Let's just say that. She was in Zurich, Switzerland, I believe, Zurich, attending the wedding of Tina Turner. And she went into a shop, a real hoity-toity shop, and she was looking at purses and this and that. I mean, she could buy the shop. We know
Yeah.
that. Well, she seems to think that the salesperson would not show her the most expensive purse in the store because of her race. Now, that's what Oprah says. I don't know. But the headline was like, Oprah has her Pretty Woman moment. And if you've ever seen the movie Pretty Woman, she is a streetwalker, and I love that movie. It's like, rags to riches, or she, bad girl makes good. But the Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts, goes into a store, and her friend gives her a credit card and money to go buy her some nice clothes. She goes in there sort of, with a halter top and cut off jeans, and she walks in there and wants to look at this and that and that. They don't want to fool with her, And so that didn't have anything to do with race. So I can't say
Right.
that was Oprah's Pretty Woman moment, because this character was discriminated against, but not because of race.
Well, I think sometimes it's not about race, but sometimes it is. People just, they look at people and they just make judgments, you know, especially like in retail, whether you think somebody can afford something or not, or, you know, I mean, it's like they almost try and gear what they're going to sell you based on what you're wearing, how your hair's fixed, if you got, you know,
Yeah.
perfect nails, or your nails are all crappy, or, you know, you drove up in a, you know, shabby car or a nice car, or, you know,
Yeah,
I mean, I think we've all felt maybe at one time or another when we're shopping somewhere, especially, you know, not like Kmart, Walmart, they don't care, you know, you just go in the Target. But, you know, like if you drive up to a boutique or, you know, something, you might feel like you're being looked at like different, you know? I mean,
sure. I mean, have y'all experienced that before? I'm gonna ask Ruthie first.
Well, I would feel uncomfortable going into a store that I knew the clothes was beyond my reach. So maybe they would treat me different because they could feel that I was uncomfortable in my setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but I've never experienced that. But like I say, I don't go into stores that I know that I couldn't afford. Well, I wouldn't want to spend that much money on something.
Right.
yeah.
Change the way you speak.
Kimberly,
I shop at Walmart, so I never had that problem.
I got you.
And most
No,
of us do.
I did go to a dress shop once when I was pregnant,
Mhm.
and they were very helpful and but I can see a salesperson being trained to look for cues, because I would imagine some of them make money off commissions too, and
Sure.
Probably most.
and so they wouldn't want to, quote, waste time on someone who couldn't afford something when they could be putting their efforts elsewhere.
Right.
So I don't know what prompted her to think Oprah couldn't afford the entire store if she wanted to. It may have
Right.
had nothing to do with race, but, you know, some cue or something clicked with this woman or man, I don't know. But
I believe it. You know, I'm thinking it was a woman, and there wasn't a lot of information in the story about it, so I can't really say one way or the other. I'm just my gut instinct. If the people in Switzerland, and this is gonna sound really bad.
well, I don't know the culture, so I don't
Yeah,
have
I'm
any idea.
not sure that they are familiar, you know, with
know who
a
Oprah
lot
is.
of, well, yeah, with a lot of African Americans. You know, they may, you know, not be introduced to. I don't know. I have
Right.
no idea.
Yeah.
Switzerland, I don't know. But when Oprah walks in the store, and if you don't recognize her, you know, maybe she didn't have her hair done, and she just had, you know, she was just trying to downplay herself so she wouldn't be swarmed, you know, and maybe the sales clerk did, you know, size her up and say, you know, she probably, but she showed her expensive purses, but not the most expensive one that's kept behind a screen. Now, it comes out that they're claiming they're claiming that it was a language barrier. The
that could've been.
clerk was Italian, and she was trying to tell her, well, there are other materials of purses that you may want to look at. And so it could just be a big, huge misunderstanding. But I will go on the record to say it's not a Pretty Woman scenario, because the Pretty Woman was dissed by, you know, a white person, Julia Roberts, white, you know, so
Well, I mean,
it wasn't
they-
the same thing.
They looked at her, and based on what her clothing was, they said, you know, okay, she is a streetwalker. We don't want her sitting around in our shop today dressed like she is. We don't want her in here. She's low class, and they wanted her out. And that's how they treated her and made her feel, you know, we don't think you can afford it. I don't remember the exact line.
Yeah.
There's nothing that would suit you in here, or something like that.
Right.
You know, because how she was dressed in clothes that were
Right.
streetwalker clothes. That's all she had at the moment.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And like Kimberly, I can understand that, because if you make commission and you see that, you're thinking, you know, I'm going to spend all my time on this person versus this person, and you know, it's a cruel world out there. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, and probably clerks do, they probably don't make a lot, and you're trying to work on commission, you're going to try to look at the woman coming in with the, you know, Chanel dress on maybe, and you know what I'm saying? And so I hate Oprah had to experience that, and I hope to God it was not racially motivated. I hope it was just a language barrier, and more than likely it was. My point is, let's go there first instead of, you know, because of the color of my skin. And I have no right to even say that statement, because I haven't been discriminated against a lot because of the color of my skin. I have before been in situations where I was a minority, and you do feel weird. And Oprah, she's a smart woman. Maybe she got the gut instinct that it was because of that. And I hope not. You know, it's Switzerland. They're supposed to be neutral. They're supposed to like everybody, right, Ruthie? So I feel for you, Oprah, and I hope it's not what you really think it was. That'd
not
be
either.
sad. But there is a shop in town that I went to one time, that it was the, what shop is it? I don't know, the Linen Corner or something. It's downtown on Garden Street, and I was in there for a gift for someone, and I did have the money to buy it. I wasn't going to buy the most expensive thing they had. They do have sales, and they do have, you know, things that all of us could afford if you look for the right thing. But I didn't feel like they wanted to help me out a lot, because, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't dress up to go downtown. I mean, I think that's an older person's mindset.
I don't dress up to go downtown either.
You don't either? Good, okay.
Well, I
Okay.
had that experience, you know, and I didn't really feel like it was necessarily by the way I was dressed or whatever. But then thinking back on it, at the time I didn't feel that way. Thinking back on it, maybe it was because I was just in a pair of shorts and a pair of flip-flops, and they weren't, nothing was dressy. I mean, I wasn't like dressed up to go out or anything like that. It was just common, something I'd wear around the house, and I ran to the mall in with a friend or something, and I was looking for a pair of shoes, and the sales clerk had walked by and walked by and walked by and didn't seem to be helping anybody, but just kept walking by, and I'm just kind of standing there looking, you know, high and low, because I was looking for a specific pair of shoes in my size that I had seen. And finally I walked up to the counter to ask, and she answered the phone, said she'd be right with me, and then she got off the phone, and I had kind of turned because the phone call was taking a little bit, and then she like left. She didn't wait, or she didn't say ma'am or anything, and I finally just said, okay, this store does not need my business, and I
Right.
walked to one of the next stores right down the way, you know.
Yeah.
But thinking back on it later, I thought,
Mhm.
you know, maybe the way I was dressed or something, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe she thought I couldn't afford the shoes in there, or I was going to buy the cheap sale shoes and that was it, or I probably was, but, you know, she didn't know that. But I don't know, you know.
But, you know,
It,
sometimes,
it did make me feel strange, like my business wasn't good enough, or, you know,
right.
I don't know.
Well, I've been to places where things are ridiculously high, but I wanted to go in there and just look at them, because I wouldn't have that opportunity again. I couldn't
Right.
afford anything in there, and I did feel weird in there. Well, we have a viewer comment concerning what we're just talking about, and let's just get right to that. Okay, viewer comment. It is a pretty woman moment, because in the movie they judged something about her looks and determined she was poor. And in this scenario, they judged something about her looks and determined she was poor. In one, it may have been clothes, and in the other, skin. But it definitely qualifies, because the point is they thought both were poor. Well, I think that might be taking it too far. They probably didn't think she was poor. You know, they might have thought, you know, you might can afford the $15,000 purse, but not the purse was $38,000.
Good Lord, I don't.
God.
Sorry, but I mean, I'm not a star, but I don't. I have a hard time spending $20-$30 on a purse. I'm thinking that things just gonna get stuff spilled
Oh,
on it and get set on the
wow.
ground or the floor, and
Yeah, this was a
Oh.
Tom Ford purse called the Jen after Jennifer Aniston. And Oprah wanted to see it. I'm not saying she wanted to buy it, but she just, hey, I want to see it. And, you know, she's a customer. She should have been able to see the purse.
right.
But it could have been a communication breakdown. I can't imagine Oprah going in there by herself. You know, she had to have had some sort of entourage, I would think. Some sort of a bodyguard
or at
or.
least her best friend Gail. You know?
Yeah, where was Gail at? She should have had her back. But viewer, judgment was placed on
Right.
both these women, and so yes, I have to.
Or it appears that way.
It
like you
appears
said,
that way.
Unless there was a language breakdown. But,
Right.
I mean, if someone keeps referencing or pointing, hey, I want, you know, the person back there, you know,
Yeah.
it seems like there had been some way to communicate that.
Well, I hate it for Oprah that it happened. So it can even happen to Oprah, whether it was the color of her skin, what she was wearing, or just, you know, Oprah's sort of down home. I mean, she doesn't. I doubt she went in there. I would love to see the Jen purse. You know, she's not that way. She's like, girl, can I see that purse? You know, and even your speech sometimes will alert people to the fact, you know, this girl doesn't have a lot of, you know.
She won't be giving those away on her Oprah's, you know, not that she has her show anymore, but you know how she did at Christmas. And
Oh, yeah.
Oprah's favorite things.
Favorite
and
things.
She gave them out to all the audience members.
Yes.
Missed an
No.
opportunity to go.
Missed an opportunity. But I bet the purse it will soar. Probably the sales will soar because of this. But Oprah, I hope you went head on and got your purse. Okay.
I'd like to have $38,000 in a purse that I
Yeah.
could spend.
That's the
I
truth.
don't want a purse that costs $38,000. I don't want $38,000 in the purse. I've had a lot of uses for that.
Let's
Anyways, moving on.
moving on. Let's talk about a new Facebook page that was brought up. Monica, you have that, or do you want me to? You go ahead.
Well,
on.
I have some info on it.
Okay,
I think I have the link that you may have sent me,
I did.
and I read a little bit about it. This Facebook page, the main heading on it says Virgin Mary should have aborted. And it basically slams religion, calls the Bible horse manure, and sparks major free speech controversy. It claims somewhere right on the Facebook page that the reason for this Facebook page is to bring fundamentalists and atheists together to have discussion. Flaring tempers up concerning aborting someone that somebody believes and holds in high regard as their Lord and Savior, because that's what most
Or even just a good
religions,
person.
or even a good person,
Yeah.
It-
Or anybody.
Right.
flaring tempers up around a subject is not going to be the best way. Now,
Right. I agree.
you cannot come out and say there's no hell without offending somebody. We know we can make just statements that, we don't believe Jesus atoned for our sins, and, we get death threats, or,
Right.
have had death threats, certain people here, or being, exonerated, exempt from
Shunned.
your family and
Yeah.
shunned and,
Cast aside.
well, blocked on Facebook. They're going to remove you as their friend and block you. But, it's just to come out and to say that Jesus should have been aborted, and some of the statements are really, really just kind of causing a fire that you have to put out before any discussion can go on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to do
I
it.
applaud what we do here. Dr. Jones doesn't 100% agree with everything Bob says, and Bob doesn't agree with 100% of what Greg says, and we can come together and have a discussion, and sometimes, someone may get real passionate, but that doesn't go into being offensive and
Right.
trying to get that other person to get in an angry state, and I don't see how most of the comments on their website do anything but. You know, I
agree.
did have to agree, there were a few comments that I could agree with what's being stated in it, maybe not how they stated it.
Right,
Right.
right.
So,
So, face value, ladies, a new Facebook page up, right off the bat, Mary should have aborted Jesus. What does that do for you, Kimberly?
That's, it's offensive, and I don't consider myself a fundamentalist. you know.
Right,
I don't think any child should be aborted, and like you were saying, especially a religious figure. I mean, we're going to say that Buddha's mom should have aborted, or, you know, how far are you going to take that, and why focus on Jesus if you're trying to get religious people and atheists to communicate? It seemed over the top offensive what I was reading on their
absolutely.
page, and you can say, oh, I'm trying to offend because I'm trying to spark a conversation, but I consider myself pretty average, and all I'm going to do is go somewhere else. So if you were trying to spark a conversation, you failed.
Right,
So it just seemed like they were wasting their time, if that's really their intention.
thumbs down
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
Ruthie?
Well, I feel this guy or person is trying to put our values and what we think on somebody that didn't know anything about the things that we think about. How would he like it if we made him go back to first century and try to live his life by the rules and regulations of society at that time? So, you know, they need to think about some of the, well, we do too. We need to think about some of the things that we're talking about and say, well, you know, they didn't know anything about that 500 years ago, so we can't judge them by what they did because they didn't understand what we understand now.
That's
And that
true.
sound, you know, that's, I just don't think we should judge anyway, but we do.
Right.
Right, that's true. I think it was in very poor taste. You know, if a fundamentalist would have put, I think, you know, Darwin's mother should have aborted him, I would have been equally,
Exactly.
equally offended.
right.
It's not because it's Jesus, it's because, you know, if that's all you have to offer to start a conversation, you're not thinking hard enough
Right.
and long enough and logically enough. And I think it's ridiculous. It had 5,300 likes right off the bat.
You know, and the sad thing is, you know, if you want to have a good, rational, logical, honest discussion with someone, that can't start with anger.
No.
You know, it has to start with, you know, finding some common ground, you know, figuring out where, you know, there's similarity, where there's differences, and, you know, I think, you know, and maybe I'm just biased, but I think here at the place, we try and we strive for, you know, seeing value in what somebody else is saying, even
Right.
if we don't 100% agree with it. And allowing for, you know, no, I don't think everything Greg says is great. You know, I believe that there is a God. I can't prove it right now, but I believe it. You don't believe because you don't see proof of it. There we have a difference, but we both have children. Yay, you know, we have something
Right.
similar to talk about. You know, we both have a spouse. We got something similar to talk about. We both live on planet Earth. You know, wow, we're finding more and more things. He probably drinks Coca-Cola. I do too, you know. Let's keep going, you know.
Right.
And then let's talk about those things where we have differences, and everybody's opinion is valued and matters. And
Right.
I don't see the value in trying to start a conversation with somebody. I mean, if you walk up to your spouse and the first thing you do is call him a name, or, you know,
Right.
pick on his mama, or, you know, something like that, you're not going to start the conversation off in a good,
Exactly.
you know,
Very-
way.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
It's probably going to be a fight, not a conversation.
You know, they say their goal is to get people to recognize that religion has no place in, you know, politics and government and everything. And in a way, I do believe that, because it should be a even slate, and it shouldn't matter if you're a Christian or a Muslim or atheist. You know, politics are politics. But I don't know. It says if you were offended by this Facebook page, then you're the target demographic that they're looking for. So I guess they're looking for me because it offended me highly.
Well, they're not gonna find me because I won't be returning to their page.
I mean, you know, the Muslims they hold Jesus in high esteem too as a prophet, and so I'll tell you one thing: you don't want to get the Muslims on your bad side because they'll find you, just like that Danish cartoon. Remember that? People died over that. But it says the accusation that the world would be better off if Jesus Christ had been aborted, like more than 50 million American children since 1973, is a common one. And no, I'm for, you know, Jesus had so many fantastic things to say. It wasn't his fault that a bunch of people got
Went
together
crazy.
and went crazy over it, and you know, so that's like, you know, don't kill the messenger. You know, it's the crazy message
Right.
that came out of it. So I'm gonna give you probably 2 thumbs down on that. Z and Lilith are their aliases, and so if you have a problem with that, let us know and text us. And if, you know, I can't imagine, but on the other side of that, they say this falls under, you know, free speech. Is this free speech? Yes, it is free speech. You can say what you want to, but some people are joining together and saying that Facebook should actually take action because of, they consider it hate speech instead of free speech, and those things have a fine line to them.
Well, one statement that they wrote, and I think I'm reading it how it's written, but I'm not sure about that it was quoted exactly right, or that maybe it was and they just, I don't know. But it says organized religion is not only and evidently harmful to humankind. I think the "and" maybe shouldn't be in there. But the indoctrination removes love, empathy, compassion, intelligence, and reasoning from seemingly civilized humans, which allows for this brainwashed, barbaric behavior to even occur. And I do agree with a lot of that. It continues to divide us, destroy us, and hold us back from universal equality, peace, and progress. And I do believe that religion as a whole does tend to do that. You know, when you're hearing that it's okay, we're all slaves to God, and that, you know, you're reading a book, the Old Testament, that says that slavery is okay, just don't kill your slave if they can stand up after 2 or 3 days, and that, you know, a virgin being raped and someone paying 50 shekels, and a lot of the stuff you read, and then even in the New Covenant, when it's, you know, portraying Jesus as a human sacrifice, which is taken from paganism, you know, and a lot of this stuff I believed for years. You know, just let me say that in case you're watching new and you think, oh, I'm just saying bad for everybody else. This was stuff I believed too. We, you know, most of us did. But at the same time, you know, when people are using the Bible and believing it's literally 100% the Word of God, and they're believing these things, and they're, you know, living these things, and then they're taught that homosexuality is wrong, so they're condemning anybody, you know, that's gay, lesbian, homosexual, transgender. If you don't go to the same church they do, if you don't believe the exact same they do, you know, I mean, we've heard that Protestant, Catholic back and forth for years, and if you're of a different religion, if you don't believe at all, if you're an atheist, you're immoral. I mean, that kind of stuff, that doesn't breed anything but, you know, this division, and it doesn't move us forward.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I agree with that. You know, I agree with that statement for the most part. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly how it was written there. It seemed like it was a little off to me when I was reading it. Maybe it's just me. But I don't agree that, you know, you just need to start a conversation or try to start a conversation by causing a fight, you know. So.
No, I think you can lure people in with other provocative statements than that. Right off the bat, you know, you're going to take me off, and then I'm not going to listen to anything else you say.
Sure.
Now, we have a viewer comment that says, I don't like hate speech, but hate speech is free speech. And I think that's a true statement, as sad as it is. But we do have laws against hate speech, I think, and well, hate crimes. So what do y'all think? I mean, hate speech is free speech, but we have to be responsible and to our fellow human beings, regardless of, what they believe. I just don't think we should go willy-nilly and be able to say things to people.
Well, what, honestly, what is the difference between, sitting there and using the N-word like Paula Deen was accused of doing, and having, they're claiming she is a racist, which is a form of hatred, and people having the hate speech of, Jesus should have been aborted, instead of let's talk, how is this Jesus really real, or whatever you want to say. How is it much different? I mean, I don't see a big difference there. I don't see a difference when you have people that are Christians or religious and they want to be bigoted against people that are homosexuals and say that their parents should have aborted them, or they just, they just need to, what was that one where the...
Put them in a pen.
Yeah, put them in a pen and starve them to death so they won't procreate. Well, they're not the ones procreating anyways.
Right.
That's not able yet, So, I mean, it's just, where do we draw the line? I mean, we get on Paula Deen's back for saying the N-word, and I think it was wrong that she did, but at the same time, we're going to say, oh, it's free speech, free speech. Well, so was that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
I mean, this is free speech. Go ahead, say this.
But don't act like the other isn't.
Yeah, it's
So-
just,
Ruthie?
Positive, encouraging speech is also free speech, and that's much better than hate speech.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I always taught you can, what? Something
catch
about
more
being,
fly,
yeah,
catch more bees with honey
With
than you
honey.
can with vinegar.
yeah. I really believe that.
At least that's what my dad used to say.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't say something good, don't say anything at all. That's what my
That's
mother
what my
said.
dad
what-
always said.
That's what
And I
my
do
mom
think,
said too.
like you said, having something that provokes somebody to think,
Right.
but provoking to anger, I don't think is a good
Right.
thing.
And
And
you can-
that's where my problem
can
is.
Encourage someone to think gently, and you're going to make progress, but, just
Right.
come out in their face, and because we could do the same thing, like Monica was saying there's not a hell offends.
Yes.
But
Right.
you can
Teaching hell's child abuse.
you
That's
can-
offensive to people.
you can
but,
ask them questions about their belief to encourage them to think, or you can get all up in their face and tell them they're stupid because they believe that. And
Yeah. Not good.
no, it's not going to work.
Not gonna work.
If your objective, like they claim, is to encourage dialogue, this is
That's
the
not
wrong
good.
way.
I
This
think
is the
so
wrong
too.
way.
I think so too. So viewer, you did make a comment, you don't like hate speech, but hate speech is free speech. So calling somebody the N-word would be free speech.
Yeah, I mean, that's
but
what I'm
hate
saying, that
speech.
I think that
Right,
that
that's
kind
what
of
you're
speech
saying.
is just the same as, what they're doing, can be construed as the same thing they're doing here. I mean, where is the difference? I mean, we're gonna get all up in somebody's business for saying the N-word, or, making comments about Trayvon Martin and the Zimmerman thing to, against one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Make it, these racist comments that we deal with in life and people have to deal with, not that I have to deal with, but you know what I'm saying? That the world in
Right.
general has to deal with. And there's not a whole lot different than just being really
Right.
hateful and, I mean,
Sure.
and I get it. I do get it that most of people that are indoctrinated with religion have caused a lot of harm to others, and they have been very bigoted towards atheists and people of other religions. I mean, I admitted when I was 13 or 14 years old, or maybe it was a little bit older than that, went to a concert and, listened to a song, and it was like, my God died on the cross, it was talking about Buddha and fat cow, and I mean, it was awful. But at the time, I didn't know any better. Now I know better, I do better.
Yeah.
But, I remember thinking about hanging a big bling bling cross around Buddha at a restaurant, Chinese restaurant. Because
Yeah.
I was very indoctrinated, and it was all about I'm right, you're wrong type thing.
Right.
And, religion teaches you to have these views that they teach you and not to be thinking and concerned with the feelings and stuff of other people.
Right.
But this isn't any different.
Right. Instead of hate speech, free speech, I think we should have responsible speech.
Right.
Right.
And this, to me, was irresponsible.
Yes.
Very,
It was.
very.
And that's the way we feel that way. And so we're going to stick by it. We're all going to, 8 thumbs down.
Yep.
8 thumbs down. Okay. My husband is making some comments that I cannot read on the air.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear.
Trying to be funny. Okay, I've got to talk to y'all about this. I haven't even told Monica, and I told her I was going to tell her. Yesterday, the day before, my sister and her son went to it's called the Mystic Cottage. And it's a place, I found out last evening, that they embrace all types of beliefs. They have all kind of bumper stickers and, books and incense, oils, and little herbs that you can do stuff with. And years ago, I would never have darkened the door, but my sister told
Religious, huh?
I was too religious. But my sister said this. She said, I took Marshall, and this is what they said in the reading. Now, this is freaky deaky, okay? My nephew's other grandfather, his name was Arnold, and he passed away a couple years ago. The lady told him specifically, she said, you have a male person that has passed on that calls you son, and the letter of his first name is an A. Now, to me, that is freaky. And so when she said that, I'm like, wow. And then she mentioned to my sister about jail. She mentioned that word a couple of times. And my sister just got a new job at the jail. So I thought, wow, this is weird. And she was like, okay, I'll pay for it if you just come and go. And I said, what have I got to lose? I'm going to just, broaden my horizon and see what they have to say. And I went in there with this skeptic heart, just, I sat like this for the most part. And it was a group reading.
Protective.
Yeah. They had about, 15 to 18 people in a room. And a lady got up and went to every person and said things. Well, before it even started, she was waiting on other people to show up. She just kind of closed her eyes and did all these things. And I was like, oh, brother. I just, that's what I did. And she closed her eyes and she walked around. And then I was sitting here. My mom actually went too. But she was sitting kind of behind me because it was crowded. And then a lady was sitting like right here. Well, when the lady, all of a sudden she got to me and she just stopped and she said, I see you holding a little baby in your arms. Okay, right away I was like, whoa, because we're expecting a little grandbaby, another grandbaby coming in February.
Not me.
But I didn't say anything. I just, I didn't want to give her any hints or anything. And then she thought for a minute. She kind of went past my mom to this other lady, and she stopped and she said, I see a cat jumping up and down right here. And the lady didn't say anything, and I thought, oh, in my mind I was thinking about Coco, our cat that died October 21st of last year. And so in my mind, I thought, wow, this is really crazy. But she went around, and I promise you, I don't know how she did it. She came up with stuff on each person that was true. And it was remarkable to me. I could not believe it. When she came to me, she told me, and this was weird because of the conversation we had at our ladies group yesterday. She told me that I was going to be the person in the family to bring the family together. And I just talked to the ladies about my sister-in-law acting out, and what am I going to do? And she's aggravating me, and I thought, wow, that's going to be a tall order, but that's what I need to do. And then she told me, she said, somebody's proud of you. I don't know what just happened or whatever, but they're proud of you. And I said, okay. I don't know who that was. And then she said, and then she acted like she was giving me something, and she went like this, and I just sat there still trying to be the skeptic. And she said, you have experienced the death of a beloved animal, and and that's what my mind was going on, because I thought, I wonder, just maybe animals are, like us, and they are somewhere that we can see them. My mind went crazy, and I was like, yeah, that's true. And then she said, this is really weird. She went to this one lady and she said, I feel like there's a delta in your life that's passed. And the lady said, no, not a delta. There's a Della. There was a Della that had passed away, and they were at odds. And she said, I feel that you forgave her by opening up your Bible and putting something in it, closing it, and saying, I forgive you, Della. And that lady said, oh my Jesus, that's exactly what I did. And then she told this one couple, this brother and sister, who I really thought they were like a pair, because I've never seen a brother and sister do this. Like, the brother got her hair and was just playing with her hair and was like rolling on all over, and I was like, this is weird. But anyway, she said something about Mexico or New Mexico or Mexico, Cozumel, and they said, we are getting ready to go on a cruise to Cozumel, Mexico. It was freaky, and I was freaked out. Now, the freakiest thing, I thought, before my mom left, my brother said, ask him about my health, because he's having some health issues. And so my mom said, okay. But when they passed my mom, she had forgotten to ask the question. But the lady went to the next lady, and then she stopped, and she came back to my mom. She said, you want to ask me a question, but you forgot. And my mom said, that's right, I did. I wanted to ask you about the health of my son. He wants to know about his health. And the lady, my hand to God, she said, not here. She went and almost into his body, like you were telling me about that one person, and she went down here. No, it's not here. It's not in the stomach. And she went down below the belt, and she said, that's where it is. That's his health problem. And my mom didn't say a word, but afterwards she told me, she said, he's having trouble peeing and with his prostate. And so isn't that weird? I thought it was weird. What do y'all think? How did this happen?
Okay,
I'm
I'm
almost
jaded.
I'm almost like a believer now.
I'm a mentalist, The Mentalist, the TV show, The Mentalist. I'm a mentalist addict,
Oh, never
and I'm
seen it.
jaded. She's a good cold reader.
Yeah.
What does that
And-
mean?
Cold readers are trained to look at body language. They're extremely sensitive and trained to know body language. Like, if she said, when she said something about a cat, she was probably watching the audience to see if anybody had any kind of minute reaction, and she would have focused in on who did that. And who hasn't had a beloved pet die? That's just an open blanket statement. Now, with Marshall, I don't know.
That's weird.
On The Mentalist, don't know how accurate it is, but on the TV show, he was a psychic, a fake psychic. That's what the show's about. And he said he would set his shop up with two-way mirrors. He'd have microphones in his shop so that he would hear people coming in, what they were talking about, so he would know what to say.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm jaded. I'm sorry. Maybe she's got some power. Maybe I don't
Ah.
know, and I don't know. But I've seen too many episodes of
And,
Well,
and
that's all right.
about the brother and the issue with the
That's-
prostate, a lot of men over a certain age do end up having issues. It seems like they always have to go and be checked, like women with mammograms at a certain age. So that could be general, but knowing that unless she heard him whisper, "Don't forget to ask," or
No, well, no, he wasn't there. That part was weird.
Oh, he asked before. y'all
Yeah,
went.
he asked
So-
at the
Oh, yeah,
apartment.
that is strange.
That was very strange.
But like you said, if they can read a person, maybe she looked lost in thought, or something. You wanted to ask me something, or
Well, I mean,
Who
she
knows?
had to have done that to every single person in that room. She pegged something about that, and to ask that lady about Delta.
That was strange.
Della. I mean, because me too. I'm thinking, and then she comes by me. I see you holding a little baby. I don't know. It was just weird. And then my sister, when she got to her, she she actually told her that there's something in her right boob that she needs to have checked, and she said, "Have you had a recent mammogram?" And then my sister said, "No, but I've put off 3 appointments for him." And she said, "Well, you need to go." And then I said out loud, I said, "Well, that's just common sense." I mean, but she pinpointed something, specifically. And then she mentioned something about my sister having a 4-poster, is that what it's called, bed with, things that stick up. And I can't go into it because, it's not appropriate. But my sister was like, "You gotta be kidding." Yes, that's true. I mean, she hit a lot of weird things. But Ruthie, you've had some experience with some of the netherworld.
Well, I won't say that a person's not able to do that. I'm not able to do that, but who am I to say what somebody else can do with their mind? You have to take it the way that you feel. You know what I mean? You can't condemn someone that's trying to read minds or whatever
Yeah.
term, but you don't have to accept what they say either.
That's
I
true.
mean, but it's strictly, how can I say what's in somebody else's mind? I don't know what's in your mind right now, and I'm sure you don't know what's in mine.
might be a
what
good
comes-
thing.
what comes out of the mouth. But
Right, true.
I would not tell somebody that this person couldn't do that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, one thing she did say too, she a couple ladies beside me, she said, now, do you have a house that has a crawl space in it? And the lady said, "Yes, I do." And she said, "Have you been smelling something that doesn't smell right? It smells dead?" She said, "Yes, I have." And she said, "It's a dead dog." I mean, right away she said, "It's a dead dog." And she said, "Oh my gosh." She said, "My dog met a girl dog, and we believe it died, and we could never find it." And she said, "It's in the crawl space." I mean, freaky, deaky. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know how everybody else feels about it. I was the biggest skeptic in the world about it, but I don't know anything about it. But she told me I had precognition. Like I and this is true because, say for instance, and we only have like 1 minute left, but if say for instance, like Alan Alda pops in my mind, and I start concentrating on that, I'm saying something to do with Alan. Something's going on with Alan Alda. It's weird. And then it won't be 2 days later in the paper, Alan Alda, comes out of the closet or whatever. I'm just making that up, but it's weird. Or if I think of a plane crash, I promise you it won't be but a day. I mean, I do have that type of a thing. I can't pinpoint it. I haven't honed in on it, but for instance, just recently it was Willie Nelson. It was like something's with Willie Nelson, and why would I think about Willie Nelson? I have no idea, but all of a sudden he popped up about something specific. I mean, it's strange. I don't know. Our minds are just energy fields too, and she was a person I would call a believer because she mentioned God a lot in the Bible and whatever, and yet she's doing that. And before I was taught that this stuff is
Of the devil.
of the devil, but it could be just something that is a talent that some of us have.
Yeah,
Well-
I believe in aura readers. I'm not at all a skeptic,
But you have seen The Mentalist too many
but
times.
I've seen the Mentalist too many times. And yeah, Patrick
a good
James
show.
ruined me. Do
Well-
you like it? You watch the Mentalist too?
I don't watch it like probably as often as you do, but
Well,
the
I
shows
got-
I have watched, I,
I got
really
it from
like.
the library, so.
Well, I
Well,
think
I
we
think
need to
that's
dig
true
into
about
this.
religion, though. You get so much religion, and you kind of,
It closes you off
you
to
close you off to
possibility.
things. Because like I'm doing Tai Chi, me and my husband, and on Saturdays, and they talk about the name of this form comes from the holy place or the holy mountain or. And I would have been like, I
don't think
it
so.
just, and I wouldn't have done it because it had to do with,
Right.
Other gods, or
gods and
beliefs.
religions and beliefs, and
Yeah,
so I'm glad I'm past most
Yeah.
of that stuff.
yeah. I'm glad that we can. And then when your mind opens up, it's not that you it's like a sewer. You let everything in or out,
Right.
but it's the people. It's not the philosophies.
Right.
You can get close to so many more people, and that's what it's about.
Right.
Okay, well, I took up a lot of time telling you about my freaky deaky experiences, but I don't know. I'm sort of kind of leaning, thinking people have talents in those areas. So
Well, I mean, who knows if somebody does and they can tell somebody something like about their health, like your sister who's put off an appointment. Yes, she needs to go do it. She shouldn't be putting it off. But for somebody to tell her that she has the thought or the hope that this person can really, read minds or whatever, foretell her future, and tells her this, it may end up saving her life or something.
That's
she kept
true.
putting off appointment, letting some go. So
yeah, I mean,
who knows?
that's true. So even if it's fake, if she heard that and she keeps her mammogram appointment, thank God.
Good.
All right, ladies. Well, hey, we're going to have something really exciting next week. We're going to be on a new set. Reflections will have a new set as well as some of our other shows, and we're looking forward to it, sort of in a way, because we've kind of hidden behind, certain shots, and now we're
We're
revealing.
gonna put it all out there.
We're just putting it all out there, big, bad, and indifferent, or good, bad, and indifferent, I should have said. But you know what? I believe that we are fantastically made, and so however we are, we is what we is, in the words of Paula Dean, and a terrible joke that's said in the South. But that's who we are. So, all right, folks, we'll see you next week.